basics and the foundations to then the afternoon there. Then I've got to host a panel. September is crazy busy, every single week.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube. So I've just sat down, get ready, and I thought I would do a little bit of an update, basically. So I have decided to basically bring back my off-season series. So you may have remembered last year I started a little bit of an off-season series, the Big Batty series, if you remember that. And I was basically documenting, my off-season and the journey of building muscle, what an off-season looked like. And I did a few episodes on it, but I've decided to bring it back because it is nearly the end, crazy, of 2025. And I'm now 2 months fully back into my normal training post-surgery, and I have a big fat off-season ahead of me. So I'm going to be in a building phase now until we're in middle November at the minute. So we've got the rest of November and December, January, February, March, April, and then the plan is to start a diet, shoot prep, comp prep, we'll see later, closer to the time, in May. So I am doing a big building phase, and I thought it would be good to share it because I think a lot of the time I share all of my preps and all of the fat loss phases, etc. And I think sometimes the building phase doesn't get shared as much, probably because it's not as exciting. I'm going to be honest, there's not as much going on. It's quite monotonous sometimes, but I think it's actually going to be really good to show that and for you guys to see that, because sometimes when people are always showing the dieting phases, it can seem exciting and new and there's loads changing, and then no one really shares the building side as much, and it is monotonous. It can seem boring at times, but I want to be really honest and really transparent in terms of what a good building phase actually looks like and what it actually takes to build muscle as a female. And I'm gonna share all the highs, all the lows. That sounds really extreme, but you know what I mean. All the behind the scenes, the food, what I'm eating, the training, the recovery. I'm actually really excited to share this because I've been really trying through this off season to get things really consistent and just really optimize everything that I'm doing in terms of my day-to-day life, my routine with business as well, and how I structure my day. I've been doing a lot of work. I've been working with a NLP qualified mindset coach, which has been amazing for me. I've just been putting a lot into myself recently and rejigging the way I do things slightly, and I feel like it's really having a positive effect on everything, on my training, on my building phase, on my consistency, on my business, the way I think day to day. So I'm really looking forward to sharing all this, and also just the behind the scenes of what a building phase actually looks like. But I do still have struggles. I have days when I don't feel great in terms of my body image. I have days where my head is just not in it, and I really struggle to get stuff done sometimes, and it can sometimes look like sunshine and rainbows from the outside, but I just really want to give a full transparent picture and a true insight into what a building phase actually looks like and what it entails. So I'm really excited to get stuck into this building phase or documenting this building phase, should I say, and just sharing everything that goes on behind the scenes in terms of business, building a business. I've been putting so much recently as well into the stuff behind the scenes of Undivided, so our events and our community and improving the service as much as possible. I've really been working so hard on this behind the scenes, so I'm really excited to kind of share the behind the scenes of the business a bit more, I guess, and what I've been doing in that aspect of life. So I really want this kind of series as such to tie together the off season, the good, the bad, the ugly, the truth behind it, what it actually takes, the actual nutrition, the training, the recovery, things like that, and what I'm doing to kind of build on that, and then a little bit of the business side, honest thoughts, deep dives, and what building a business actually looks like. So it's going to be a little bit of everything really. And I'm going to really commit myself to this, and I'm going to be uploading a new behind the scenes video every single Sunday morning. That is what I'm saying to commit myself to. That is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this right up until the end of my off season. I'm committed. Keep me accountable. So that's going to be the plan of action. So yeah, I'm excited for this. So I'm gonna rename this series. Do I just call it? I feel like I put this in my YouTube video last time, and people like voted in the comments for what I should call the series. So I think it ended up being called last time the Big Batty. I think I saw it. I think someone commented it in the comments, and I was like, that's cool. I'm gonna use that. So should I just call it the Big Batty series again? Like, should I rename it? Let me know what you think anyway. And I'm gonna give this off-season series a name, and we'll be doing weekly videos on exactly what the off-season looks like. So yeah, just a little bit of an intro, I guess, into where things are at. So I started this off season, I was about £137. Bear in mind, I had surgery, and when I had my cyst removed, when I had my surgery, my weight did come down quite a lot because the cysts were quite big. So I came down after my surgery to around £134, 133, and then when I got back to the gym, my weight naturally came up a little bit. So I started off about 137. I'm now £142, so that's come up from I got back into the gym mid-August, so mid-August to mid-November, so 4 months really back into training. Not very good training, I will admit, for the first couple of months, but back nonetheless, and my weight is up about £5, so it's been very steady. And my food has actually come up fairly recently as well. So I am going to basically show you what I'm eating today. It's a training day, and that is where we're at. So the plan is now to continue in a building phase right up until we start dieting in May. I've actually got a team photo shoot in May, and I was thinking, oh, do I diet for that? That'll be quite cool. It's a big shoot. We're doing a little night away. It's going to be really fun. And I was like, maybe I diet for that. But I think it's going to be too much on like my body, bearing in mind I've only really been back to proper training for 2 months. It would mean starting dieting in January, which I just think is not very sensible. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be sensible here. And I am going to wait, and I'm going to diet for the back end of the year and diet through summer. So I am really excited, to be honest. And I'm just excited to have a full building phase. I feel like it's going really well. I feel really good at the minute. And I feel like everything's just ticking along really, really nicely. So that's what's going on. I'm currently training 5 times a week. I'm following a meal plan like I always do. So I will talk to you in more detail about what the meal plan looks like, and I'm having a few meals out. I've got a few free calories, which is fun. So I will show you all of that and what that looks like when trying to build muscle, which is going to be fun. So today it's Tuesday. I got up this morning at 6 o'clock. My alarm went off, and I did some check-ins. So I worked through the first half of my check-ins. So I got 8 check-ins done with my coffee, nice and early, and then did all my client messages and things like that as well. And then I had my breakfast. So I had my bagel that I just showed you this morning, my 2 bagels with 2 slices of bacon and 2 eggs, and some water and things, a couple of my supplements. And then I took the dogs for a walk. So I've just been out, got a big walk done. It's 10:30 at the minute, and I've done 6,000 steps, so that was nice. It's actually really flooded at the minute, so we had to find a different dog route because our walk is very flooded right now. So we just took the dogs out, did a big walk, and I'm actually meeting a client to train her. We're doing a little PT session, which is going to be fun, at 11:30, so I need to leave about 11:15. So I'm just getting ready, and then I'm going to go and make a cup of tea and get some more check-ins done basically before I leave to go and meet my client. So that's going to be my morning. I've got actually not too busy day today. I've got my check-ins, first check-in day of the week. Where's my eyebrow pencil? And then, here it is. And then, oh God, drop my strings. Yeah, so I've got my client PT session, got the rest of my check-ins to do, and then I have got a business mentorship call later at 4 o'clock with a girl that I'm working with, and then I need to train legs tonight. So it's leg day today, which is going to be fun. So yeah, bit of admin to do this afternoon, bit of social media stuff, and obviously film this YouTube today as well, which I will talk you through my day as we go. So anyway, enough of me rambling. I'm going to finish getting ready and then go make my cup of tea, get some more check-ins done, and I'll catch up with you later. Oh, it is so cold. I have just sat down at my desk. I've got my Pepsi Max and I've just had my second meal. So, I've just got back from my PT session with my client. At lunch, had some pasta, some beef mince, a little bit of cheese, some pasta sauce, so that was really nice. Normally I have my steak mince meal as my evening meal, but I'm training in the evening. I train in the evening on a Tuesday night, so I have to just rejig my meals a little bit more, because otherwise I end up with like, it's like 8 p.m. and I've got like my post-workout cereal, my beef and potato or pasta, and then my yogurt and fruit and a lot of I'm on a lot of dark chocolate now, and it's like 3 back-to-back meals before bed, and then I'm so full and I literally cannot sleep. So I've had to rejig my day a bit, pull my meals forward to try and get my main meal in the day before I go to the gym in the evening, so that when I come back in the evening I only have like my cereal and then my yogurt to fit in, so it's a bit less intense. So I've got a bit of cramming to do actually before I go to the gym, but I'm just sat down, just going to go into another work block before I get ready and go to the gym a little bit later on today to do my leg session. And I guess something that really helps me when I'm in a building phase, because my food is quite high, I'm going to work out all the calories and I'll put them in as I go through the day. I'll tell you kind of where I'm at the end of the day, and then I'll do my rest day on another day so you can see what I'm eating on a rest day. But I do feel like I'm eating quite a lot of food at the minute. I feel like quite full. And I guess as a female, this is where it's quite difficult, because naturally, like, it is more difficult to eat when you're not necessarily that hungry. But I think it's just sort of reminding yourself that if you miss meals, that is gonna impact like the progress side of things. So what I will do is have like my meal timings where I'll make sure, because I have like 6 meals to get in on a training day, so I will have those timings and have those set, because it really helps me with consistency, especially when it's a bit easier when you're dieting because you're like hungry, whereas when you are in a building phase and you're not really that hungry, it can be easy to like miss meals, and before you know it, it's like 6 p.m. and you've got like 2 or 3 meals in and you've got loads of food left. So like really having a routine and sticking to the meals really helps me in terms of consistency, like as I go through my building phase. So anyway, I'm just gonna do a little bit more work and then I'll catch up with you a bit later before I go to the gym. Okay, so I have just sat down. I've got my pre-workout meal, which is 50 grams of oats, 25 whey, and a banana. So I've literally got 5 minutes and then I am jumping on a client call. So, well, it's actually, I've started basically on the down low. Well, not on the down low, but I just haven't been advertising it. Started doing some work with a few girls. So I've got 5 girls at the minute who I'm working with on a one-to-one basis, basically doing a little bit of like, I hate calling it this, but I guess it's like business mentoring, which is actually going so well. And I've never advertised it, so people who've messaged me asking, and I've just kind of built it over the past, I've been doing it for about half a year now, just based on like feedback, what's working, what isn't, and it's going really well. I get some really good results with the girls I'm working with, and honestly, I'm absolutely loving it, because I've invested so much into my business over the years. I've worked with multiple mentors. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I now know a lot around like building a team and all the back end stuff, like the automations, the emails, the onboarding, like how to do all these things, the marketing side of things. And I feel like it's really nice to me now helping girls who are like getting into online coaching. It's been really cool kind of going through this with them, and I'm not by any means an expert, but I do have enough knowledge to help girls initially build their business and set it up and structure it and you know, sort out the payments and all the back ends and things like that. So it's been really cool and I've been really enjoying it. So that's what I'm basically gonna do in a second. I'm really not hungry, to be fair, but you know, we gotta eat the food. So this is my pre-workout going in. And then I'm going to head to the gym, and it's my leg session. I really like this leg session, so I'm excited for this actually. So that is going to be the plan. I did want to talk a little bit around like body imaging and off season and like how to deal with this, because I know this can be quite tough, but I'm going to have to wrap this video up here and do some filming when I'm driving to the gym, because I am going to be late for this call. So yeah, anyway, I'll eat this and then I'll have a chat with you guys on the way to the gym. I look like an actual ghost right now because my face is fully spotlighted, but I'm just sat in the car. and I have just got to the gym and I'm about to go and do my leg session. It is torrentially raining right now. It took me quite a long time to get to the gym tonight, but yeah, work's all done. I did that call and I am just gonna go ahead and warm up on the bike and just reply to some of my client messages from the check-ins that I've got back earlier, and then we're gonna get stuck into today's leg session. So that is the plan of action, and I feel like I want to talk about this because I feel like it is something that I kind of really used to struggle with in a building phase, but I feel like doing this thing and getting my head around this thing has honestly helped me massively improve my results when it comes to building muscle, and that is being okay with gaining a little bit of weight and a little bit of body fat as a female. Because I think sometimes it's really easy to look at women who have maybe been training for a really long time and they have quite a lot of muscle and they stay in like pretty good shape all the time, and they stay kind of leaner all the time, or they look leaner, let's say, because they actually have the muscle. And I think sometimes when you are early on in your training journey, or you're a female, like early days of building muscle or one of the first building phases you've done, because there's not actually the muscle there, like you're not going to look lean through a building phase. And I remember I used to look at all these women, like these bodybuilders that I aspired to, these like really strong women when I was first starting out, and I was like, how are they just like, they always just look so muscular? But it's because they've gone through years and years of their lives basically going through the process of building muscle, going through the process of building phases, cutting back. You go through that multiple times, so it means that they've now got enough muscle that they can sit in a building phase, or they can sit with a bit more body fat on, but because they've got the muscle there, they look wham, they look lean, they look strong, but it's because they've gone through that process of building muscle. So I think, like, side note to take from this is, if you are a female that is early on in your building phase, like, you have to go through that process of actually building the muscle to get that look long term. But the way that you build the muscle is going through a proper building phase, pushing your food up, and that is going to result in a little bit of body fat gain, right? And I think it's sort of like reframing this, because that can often be seen as a really negative thing. But like, why is it negative? Like, why is gaining a bit of body fat a bad thing? And I understand, that was just genuinely a question I was asking myself. Like, why is that seen as a negative thing in females? Because actually, as a female, like, if you're wanting that strong look, that muscular look, like, it is something that you have to go through, and building muscle is a slow hard process. It really is. And if you can, it's so much easier to lose body fat because it comes off quickly. Like 8 to 10 weeks dieting, you can pull off like a lot of body fat, whereas 8 to 10 weeks of building muscle, like you probably not made that much progress, to be fair. So like, really leaning into this phase, and this is something that I am fully embracing in this stage. But I feel like, because I've gone through this process now quite a few times, I don't even know how many building phases I've done, but I've done a lot of building phases by this point. So I feel like I have like a decent amount of muscle. I wouldn't say I have loads of muscle, but I feel like I have like a fair amount of muscle. And every time I go through a building phase, obviously I get more muscle. But it's like, now I look so much different in my building phase now to what I did maybe like 5-6 years ago in a building phase, because I now have more muscle. So even though I have a bit more body fat and I'm gaining body fat, obviously the body fat sits on top of the muscle. So now, even when I'm in a building phase, I look a little bit leaner because there's the actual muscle there. But that's taken me like multiple building phases to get to the point where I don't look like really out of shape in a building phase. Because I remember a few years back, like, going through a building phase and I'd be like, oh my god, I don't even look like I go to the gym. Whereas now, because I've gone through that process and I'm carrying more muscle, I feel like I do kind of look like I go to the gym in a building phase now. Obviously I still have body fat, right? But the more that I've gone through this process, the better I look in each building phase. So I think that's just like food for thought, and something I wish that I knew really early in my building phase, that it's okay to carry a bit more body fat. It just takes a few cycles of going through a building phase to be able to like look leaner as such in a building phase. But also knowing that it's okay to gain a bit of body fat, and it's worth it. Like, stick to your structure, get your food in, build your food. I'm telling this to young Leah, because it will be so worth it, because that's how you build the muscle, and you can pull the body fat off later down the line and it will be worth it. So that is my mantra as I go into my leg session. I actually feel pretty good in this building phase, and I'd probably say this is like, I know I haven't been in this building phase long, and I've still got a long time ahead, so keep posted to see how I feel in another 4 or 5 months of building, because I'll probably be so over it. But right now, I feel pretty good. I do feel like I am naturally someone that carries like a little bit of body fat around my hips, anyway. And I don't, like, I have to get very lean for me to have visible abs. Like, I just don't I don't get abs very easily. I don't have genetically good abs. But we're trying to change that this off season. But, I can't remember where I was going with that train of thought. But anyway, I feel pretty good in this building phase. I feel like I'm really on it with hitting my food, and I feel like my body composition is staying in a good spot. So yeah, just kind of taking in, I guess, that eating more, fueling well, training hard doesn't have to mean that you feel like shit and you ruin your body image. And I think it's just like focusing on all the positives as well, because there's so many positives to a building phase. Like, you get strong, you're not hungry, you get to eat nice food, like your training is really good, like there's so many positives. You can have more flexibility, and I think it's just leaning into those and not getting too hung up on the fact that you're gaining a little bit of body fat, because it's not the end of the world, right guys? So anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna go and train legs, because I've hotboxed myself into the car because it was freezing, and it's now very hot in this car. I had the heated seat on full whack, the heating's been on 24. I need to go and get out in the cold now and go and train legs. So I will catch up with you later, and then I've got my last couple of meals to get in after this session. So I'm just making my last meal, which is my Greek yogurt. So I've only just had my post-workout meal, but it's late and had to condense these meals quite close together because I want to go to bed. And to be fair, with that post-workout meal, so I have 50 grams of cereal and then 25 grams of whey as a shake, bit of almond milk as my post-workout, which, to be honest, like, not a very big meal, digests very quickly, and I was pretty hungry, to be fair, after that leg session, after I'd driven home again. So I tend to have my post-workout, and then I'll have another meal like pretty soon after. So I'm gonna have some Greek yogurt with some whey, so 150 grams of Greek yogurt, 15 grams of whey, and then gonna have 100 grams of berries, and then I've actually got 40 grams of dark chocolate in this meal, which is half a bar of dark chocolate, so that's quite high now. And then that will be the full day of eating wrapped up. So it's getting pretty late, so I'm gonna head off to bed in a minute. Just need to have a shower after my leg day. Had a really good session though, which was fab. And I'll film the like wrap up and ending of this video in the morning when I'm feeling a bit fresher. Okay, so it is the following day. I have just sat down to eat my meal, and as I started to eat this meal, I was thinking I'm going to eat this meal and then I'm going to wrap up my YouTube video that I filmed yesterday. But as I started to eat this meal, I realised that I didn't even show you this meal that I had yesterday. So this was one of the meals in the middle of my day. I had this meal before my pasta meal that I showed you. So this is essentially protein and veg. It's pretty boring, to be honest. It is, I shouldn't say that. It's roasted broccoli, asparagus, and some yellow pepper, some pre-cooked chicken, and then I did actually add some like seasoning on it. And then I did have, I put some nuts in this as well, because I have quite a few. I think it's 300. I can't actually remember off the top of my head what it is. It's like it's quite a lot now. I have quite a few free calories on my training days. Let me actually work this out. Okay, it's 250. So on my training day, I have 250 free calories. So I have some nuts, and then I'm also going to have an apple with this meal. That is almost all of my free calories gone, to be honest. I think I've got like 25 left if I've worked this out correctly. But what I basically do with my free calories is I will keep the extras the same, because otherwise, sometimes if I like want a coffee or I have like a chocolate bar or something, I will just not have the extras and I have that instead. But day to day, I just keep the free calories the same, because then I don't have to track it every day and it is easier and quicker. So I've got 20 grams of nuts, which seems a bit random, but it gives a little bit of crunch. And then I've got an apple, which I'm going to have. I've also got a Diet Coke that I'm going to have with this meal as well. So I'm eating this on the following day, but I did actually have this meal yesterday. And this, like I said, was in the middle of my day. So in total, it's 6 meals on my training day. And that is basically the total. So I'll put my totals for my whole day. I've plugged it all into MyFitnessPal for you, even though I don't normally do this. I've plugged it in so you can see the totals of what I have. So I'll pop that in here somewhere just so you can see exactly what I'm having. And that essentially is my training day wrapped up, basically. That's what I eat on a training day. I just actually wanted to touch on this meal a bit because I'm going to put some sauce on it so it's not super dry. But this is something to think about. Is something that I definitely used to struggle with and took me maybe a bit of time to get my head around. But when I'm trying to build muscle, it's really easy to get into the mindset of thinking, oh, I'm not dieting, so I can just eat what I want, you know, it doesn't matter about the food quality. And you can get into this really like unproductive mindset where when you are trying to build muscle, you are just eating whatever you want. There's no structure. The food quality goes down the drain. And actually, it's like, it then got me thinking, there's this whole connotation around like eating well is still associated with dieting. Like, why is eating well just when you're dieting? Like, surely we should be eating well all the time from a health and a well-being and a performance and an energy perspective. And it's like thinking, just because we're not dieting, or just because I'm not dieting, it doesn't mean that I want my health and my well-being to go in the bin and I want to eat loads of like heavily processed foods, right? So it's just sort of thinking, even though I am not dieting, my calories are still high. Like, at one point, you never would have caught me eating chicken and veg for a meal if I wasn't dieting, because I was like, why would I eat that when I'm not dieting? But actually, like, health, well-being, energy, all of these things are still really important, regardless of whether you're on a dieting phase or not. And I think that can sometimes take a while to wrap your head around, but it's sort of thinking the food that you put into your body is effectively determining how well your body runs, how efficiently it runs. And you don't want to be loading your body with loads of sugary processed foods every single day. Like, you want to be treating your body with respect and with care and giving it proper nutrients and allowing it to rest and recover and all these amazing things that the body does. And that is going to stem partly from eating well and fueling yourself well. So I think it's just switching the mindset and thinking, even in a building phase, you still want the food quality to be good. You still want your protein to be here. You know, you still want to be putting healthy, nutritious foods into your body. So that is just, I guess, a little roundup of this video. And hopefully this has helped in terms of understanding what a full day of eating looks like. And bear in mind that these targets are very specific for me. Obviously, my calories over the years have come up to the point where, you know, I've been building muscle for a long time now, and I've been able to work my calories up and get them up pretty high. So it, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that these are going to be your calories, but it is just understanding that even when you are trying to build muscle, you still want to have structure there, you still want your food quality to be good, and you want to be actively pushing your food up to be able to build muscle and be able to recover properly and things like that. That's such an important part of building muscle as a female. And one more thing I did want to finish up with is, I am in a building phase at the minute, right? And I actually tried on a pair of jeans the other day that I wore earlier this year when I finished my dieting phase before my surgery. And I'm not, no word of a lie, these jeans were not coming over my bum. Though it was just not happening. Absolutely not. And me at one time would have had a full-on meltdown at this point. I thought, oh my God, I'm fat, I'm getting chunky, I need to diet. But Nulia, rational Leah, comes in and says, actually, it's absolutely fine to buy new clothes. Like, when you are actively pursuing building muscle, why are you going to expect to fit into exactly the same clothes if you're actively trying to build muscle, right? Like, the same clothes just aren't going to fit. And Leah a few years ago would have got so upset and been like, I need to diet. Whereas now, I honestly do not care. I'm like, okay, I need to go and buy bigger jeans, because really, what does a size even mean? Like, it means nothing. And I just kind of think, obviously, our shape is going to change when we are actively trying to build muscle as a female. So little nugget to finish off with is buy the clothes that fit you. Don't try and fit into the same clothes, because it's okay to not fit into the same clothes. Like, that is fine. And I think as a society, we have this thing around like, oh, we need to fit back into the jeans. Like, why can we not just buy bigger clothes that actually fit us? And who cares if it's a bigger size? Like, if we feel more confident, like, I know for me, I'm going to feel so much better sat down if the jeans aren't literally cutting off my blood circulation. I'm going to feel so much better for that. So note to Leah, go and buy bigger jeans. My dog is just got his little paws on my foot and it's so cute. But yeah, anyway, little take home from the end of this video is, if you are in a building phase, just don't stress about your clothes not fitting. Go and buy bigger clothes. It's fine. Nothing bad's going to happen. That's what I'm going to do. And the final, sorry, this is actually the final thing, and then I am going to go. I am really, really excited because I can't remember if I shared this in my last video or not, but I'm going to say it again. I am going to a networking event in London in the middle of December, because I recently have gotten myself in a bit of a rut where I basically sit in the same four walls every day. And it got me thinking, I was like, I have a job where I can literally work from anywhere. And one of the reasons that I worked so hard to do this job was because I wanted to be able to travel and, you know, not be stuck in like an office environment. And I feel like I have basically done that to myself. And sometimes it's really hard when you are running your own business and you're working online. Like, I don't spend time. I don't have like people who I can, you know, I don't have like co-workers. Obviously I have like, yes, I have my team, but it's not the same as being in like an office where you're surrounded by people every day. So I came to the realization, I was like, I need to surround myself with other women who are also running their own business. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm really going to try and make a conscious effort with this through next year. Also, just like seeing my clients more, like going for coffee with my clients, like running more events with them Undivided, you know, training with more clients, just doing more things with my clients and my team. But also like actually putting myself around other women who are also running their own businesses, because I think it will be a really fun experience and it will allow me to surround myself with like like-minded women. So I'm going to that in December. I might actually try and vlog that because I think that'll be really cool to see. But it's actually, if you know me and you've followed me on Instagram for a while, I love shopping, I love clothes, and it's basically like a styling event, which is a bit different, I know, but it's like a styling event for female founders who run their own businesses. So I'm really excited for both sides, one for the like styling side and one from like being able to meet other women in business. So I'm super excited for this. And random note, but if you are a female and you live around the Midlands area and you want to just meet for a coffee and a chat, like I would be, or like even like a co-working morning, I will be so down for that. So if there is anyone that is also running their own business that is watching this, I'm always looking for people that I can like spend time with to just chat about business and, you know, running a business and teething issues of running a business. It would be really cool. So side note, if anyone's up for that, hit me up. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up there. Hopefully this has been helpful and you've taken something from it. And if you aren't following me, subscribing to me. If you haven't subscribed to me, it would be very much appreciated. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see, if there's anything that you want me to talk about in this building phase, and I will be back next week.